On this first of two lessons devoted to anti-corruption, we will cover 7 points. Anti-corruption as a contemporary issue of public ethics, the concept of corruption, types of corruption, who are public agents, public ethics and corruption, the values at stake, and the field of anti-corruption. As we have stated in previous lessons of this course, in the last few decades, some major ethical issues have entered the public agenda. They have gained international acceptance and legitimacy. The driving force behind this process has been the work of active citizens and non-governmental organizations from many countries. The 1960s witnessed the birth of a non-governmental human rights movement. In the 1970s, an international environmental movement began to be formed. In the 1990s, that is, after the end of the Cold War, it was added the issue of anti-corruption, or, if we put it in more positive terms, the issue of public integrity, transparency, and accountability. Corruption means the abuse of public power to obtain private gain. More broadly, it means the abuse of a fiduciary position, whether public or private, to obtain private gain. A fiduciary position is one of trust. People entrust elected officials with the administration of public affairs. In the private realm, there are also fiduciary positions, where a few administer the interest or provide for the needs of many people. Examples are the private handling of public utilities, the management by a few of a corporation with many small stockholders, and, in certain countries, the private administration of the pension system, the health system, or the stock market. According to the depth of its entrenchment, one can speak of endemic corruption and of sporadic corruption. Endemic corruption is that kind of corruption that is pervasive in the social and cultural patterns of a country. It is extremely hard or pretty nigh impossible to eradicate. Sporadic corruption, instead, responds to more ephemeral factors. It is less rooted in social and cultural behavior, so it is generally less difficult to control or overcome. Another criterion to classify corruption is that of its extent. Thus, corruption can be either generalized in a society or it can be said to be focalized in certain institutions or activities. Corruption can also be classified as local, national, or international, depending on its territorial scope. Since corruption involves, for the most part, the misuse of public power, it is essential to consider those who can exert such power, that is, public agents. Public agents may be elected for office. They may also be designated by elected officials, as it is the case with cabinet ministers and other high officials in many countries. Public agents may also be career civil servants. Their contractual link with the state may take different forms. One may speak, too, of de facto public agents, that is, individuals who are not legally public agents, but whose actions may make the state responsible due to the connivance or complacency of actual public agents. The corruption phenomenon can be analyzed from different perspectives, among them ethical, legal, economic, political, and criminological. In these two classes, we will focus mainly on the ethical and legal perspectives. Public ethics comprises the quality of democratic institutions and public policies. It also includes the conduct of public agents. Regarding such conduct, the main ethical transgressions refer to: 1. The abuse of the monopoly of force enjoyed by the state; 2. The abuse of a fiduciary position to obtain private gain; and 3. Poor or negligent management. The main values that are affected or threatened by corruption are: 1. The integrity of the public treasure. Corrupt practices directly affect the amount of public funds available for public expenses and social policies. 2. The regulation, protection, and promotion of the so-called economic public order, that is, a set of institutions and legal rules governing the economic life of a given society. Corruption distorts the rules of the game. 3. Democratic institutions and values such as transparency and accountability. Transparency is a basic democratic principle because it is assumed that the people are the sovereigns and the public authorities are their servants. Therefore, with some qualified exceptions, every individual ought to have access to the information produced by public authorities. Accountability means the duty of a public servant to account for or explain his or her actions to the public during his or her time in office and after that. Therefore, it works as a deterrent for those thinking of bending the rules for private gain due to the prospect of being caught sooner or later. Anti-corruption can be said to be a field of norms, institutions, study and action which comprises the main following elements. 1. International law, including the treaties of the Organization of American States of 1996, the OECD of 1987, and the United Nations of 2003. 2. International organizations, which can be: A. Intergovernmental organizations such as the World Bank, the Organization of American States, the Inter-American Development Bank. B. Non-governmental, such as Transparency International and TIRI. C. Specialized donors, such as trust funds of the Inter-American Development Bank and the Open Society Institute. 3. National organizations, including some ombudsman offices and non-governmental organizations working on issues such as the access to public information, participatory budgets, and free and fair elections. 4. The academic field, including many university centers and programs, as well as academic networks like PIEN, Public Integrity Educational Network. Please visit our website mucchile.com, and we kindly invite you to watch the next class of this course.